you spend a third of your life somewhere and you don't know where it is. Think about that for a second. If you live to 80 years old, you will spend roughly 27 years asleep. 27 years in a place you can't describe, can't remember clearly, and can't map. Now, here is the strange part. For most of human history, nobody believed that place was empty. The idea that dreams are just neural noise is barely 150 years old. For the previous 5,000 years, across almost every serious civilization on Earth, people believed something else entirely. They believed that when you fall asleep, you go somewhere, an actual somewhere with its own rules, its own inhabitants, its own knowledge. And one tradition in the mountains of northern India did more than believe it. They built a technology around it, a precise step-by-step method for entering that place fully awake. They called it Svapna Sādhana, the dream practice. You've never heard of it. And there's a reason for that. What you're about to hear is not lucid dreaming. It is not any of the trending sleep techniques you've seen on the internet. Those are the shallow end. What we're about to explore is the deep water. Let's start with a simple question. What is a dream? Ask a modern neuroscientist and you'll get a clean answer. Random electrical impulses, memory consolidation, the brain sweeping its cache while you sleep. Interesting biology, nothing more. Now ask the same question to the sages who wrote one of the oldest philosophical texts on earth, and you'll get a very different answer. The text is called the Māṇḍūkya Upaniṣad, 12 verses. That's it. But those 12 verses contain a claim so radical that if it's true, everything you think about reality is wrong. The Māṇḍūkya says consciousness has 4 states, not 1, 4. The first is waking, the second is Svapna dreaming, the third is Sushupti deep sleep. No dreams, no thoughts. The text calls this a mass of pure awareness. And then, in the 7th verse, it says there is a 4th state. It calls it Turiya, which literally means not inward, not outward, not both, not neither, unseen, ungraspable, beyond all categories. This is the self. This is what you actually are. But here's the twist that changes everything. The Māṇḍūkya maps these 4 states onto a single sound, the sound the letter A, that's waking, the letter U, that's dreaming, the letter M, that's deep sleep, and the silence that comes after the OM finishes, that silence is the 4th state. Which means every time you chant Om, you are not chanting a word. You are chanting the entire architecture of consciousness itself in one syllable. That should give you chills. 300 years after the Māṇḍūkya's commentaries were being written, something extraordinary was happening in Kashmir. The valley beneath the Himalayas. 10th century. In this remote corner of the world, a lineage of philosophers was doing something no one else on earth was doing. They took the four-state model of the Māṇḍūkya and refined it into something even more precise. We call this tradition today Kashmir Shaivism. And they looked at the Māṇḍūkya and said there is a fifth state. They called it 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗏, which means literally beyond the fourth. Here, the distinction between the witness and the witnessed disappears entirely. There is only pure, non-dual consciousness where the entire universe is recognized as the self. In the older framework, dreams were something to transcend, to rise above. But in this new framework, dreams became something to enter, a specific frequency of consciousness, a dimension you could visit. The tradition points to a smaller, sharper, more focused text. It is called the 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗘𝗢 Tantra. And it is unlike anything else in the entire body of Indian scripture. The text is set up as a conversation. The goddess asks the god Bhairava, the fierce form of Shiva, one question. What is ultimate reality? His answer is not a philosophical treatise. He doesn't explain. He doesn't argue. Instead, he gives her 112 techniques, 112 doorways. And several of those 112 techniques are about dreams. The most important one, the single verse that the entire Tantric dream tradition is built on, reads like this: at the point where sleep has not yet fully come and external wakefulness has vanished. At that state, the Supreme Goddess reveals herself. On the surface, that sounds like poetry. It's not. It's a technical instruction. Every single night when you fall asleep, there is a moment. It lasts maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3. The external world has already faded. You are no longer aware of the room around you. But you have not yet lost consciousness either. You are still there, just suspended. The 𝗪𝗓𝗪𝗘𝗢 calls this moment a crack in consciousness. And in that crack, according to the text, what is revealed is not sleep, not thought, not imagination. What is revealed is what you actually are, undisguised, for the first time all day. You enter the dream state not as a dreamer, but as a witness, fully awake, fully aware, standing in a dimension the tradition insists is as real as the one you left behind. Which raises the obvious question: if they're right, who is on the other side? What lives there? What can you learn from them? Those are the questions we are answering next. Subscribe so you don't miss the door closing. I'll see you in the next one.